Lovely to be back with you once again on Around the Wickets on ThePapare.com, and we are now talking to you after Sri Lanka ends their tour of South Africa. If you look at the tour performance, it's been a mixed bag. Well, Sri Lanka wasn't expected to win anything, but everyone expected them to come up with a good fight. But they surprised almost everybody. I wonder whether they even surprised themselves, winning the Test series 2-0, comprehensive. And then with the one-day series happening, almost all and sundry were excited, pumped up, expecting a good effort. But alas, what happened? 5 ODIs lost, 5-0. T20, again, always renewed hope. Sadly, not to be. So that's where we are today as we start our program. And as usual, we got an expert, the former Sri Lanka all-rounder Farveez Maharoof, joining me. Thank you for joining us. And we are going to bombard him with questions and get him to tell us and analyze what really went wrong. First and foremost, well, nothing in the white ball format. The red ball has been a consolation. Actually, I must add here, people ask me, what's wrong with our cricket? I used to say, why do you say that? We had just won the Test series. But I stop at that point. I don't go beyond, because the white ball has been a disaster.
Exactly.
So what are your thoughts as we start this program?
I think I'm with you. The white ball cricket, as we always say, last 2 years have been a bit disastrous. I mean, consistency-wise, I mean, we've been lacking a lot of things. And also, in this tour, we knew it's going to be hard. But whether we competed enough, I don't think so. I mean, it's just not watching from the TV that how competitive we are, that's not good enough. Going to a World Cup preparation-wise, we still don't know our 15. Yeah. So that's a major issue we are going through, and we are banking on the Super Provincial tournament to finalize our 15-man squad for the World Cup. So, it's not easy. It's not easy to be administrator or to be as a player. Selector, I mean, the thankless job, and I just can imagine the pressure they are going through to finalize.
Your pressure hasn't started as yet. You're still enjoying the honeymoon.
To be honest, the under-19 selection is much more hard as
well. Honeymoon time for you.
So, going to a World Cup preparation-wise, not at all ideal. But lots of questions to be answered. I think the team is coming back anytime today. So straight away they be into provincial cricket. So not the ideal way to refresh the players as well. I mean, some of the players have been away from home for 4 months, and they come back only a few days off, and they get back to one more important series. So it's going to be asking too much from them. I mean, that's a professional cricketer's life. You just have to go through the grind, and especially when you're not doing well, you got to expect all this.
Well, the professional cricketer's life is what he said. I'm very interested to try and get into the mind of the professional cricketer, but that's not something we can do today. There are lots of interesting things we can ask him. Lots of interesting things. And I'm sure Farveez Maharoof, we might be able to get him to talk. But well, that's on another day. But you said lots of questions. I know, lots of questions to be asked. But I can tell you that there is one very positive question. The question is Isuru Udana, the batsman.
Yeah.
Now, my question is it too good to last? Because I saw him bat in that last game. Some of the sixers, boy, a batsman will be proud of.
Yeah.
The shot selection, the balls he picked. So how good is this performance of Isuru Udana to last? I say that I don't want to insult him in any way, because you know that his first priority is a bowler. He hasn't been known as a batsman. So what would happen now? And just going back to that question, how good is it to last?
I think at least I hope this will last up to the World Cup.
Is it a fair question to ask?
I mean, it is. I mean, how I look at Isuru Udana now, on form Isuru Udana, he's a two-dimensional player now. You could play him as a bowling all-rounder and have a fight with this Pereira, or else he's a bowler who could bowl 10 overs as well. He bowls up front, he comes in the middle, bowls his slow balls. He can bowl in the dead, bowls his slow balls and the Yorkers, outside those stump Yorkers as well. So how I look at him is in 2 dimensions, because we can use him as a bowling all-rounder, as well as we can use him as a bowler. So that is a huge plus, and he's a very fit young man. And if he lasts for the entire World Cup, there are 9 games, it's going to be hard with the travelling and everything. But I feel like if this form continues, I think he'll be a X factor, because people know, and he's just not a guy who comes and tongs everything. He plays according to situation. He knows when to attack which bowler and when to rotate the strike. If there's a batsman in the other end, especially at the Port Elizabeth one day, the way he batted when the batsman was in the other side, he just calmly played the singles. As soon as the batsman got out, he went for big shots. So that shows how matured he is. So going forward, he's a huge positive to come out of this World Cup. I'm very happy for him, because I've seen his cricket for the last 5 years, how he has grown up as from a first-class cricketer to be recognized a world stage T20 cricketer. He has travelled a lot with all the leagues happening, and now he has got the break at the right time in the national setup. So, all in all, I think he's going to be the X factor. How are we going to use him? And we can use him in 2 dimensions. So I'm pretty interested to see going forward what role he's going to play.
Yeah, the selectors, I think, needs to be congratulated and applauded for the brave decision to come back with Udana, give him all the support. But I also know, when you read and when you hear, that there are a few other players, Maha, that the selectors are very big about going forward. Avishka Fernando is one of them. I know that Van der Sar is another. Sandakan is another, because the reason is the accent is on wrist spin. They say if you have a good wrist spin, as we did see with Imran Tahir, with Shamsi, matches can be won. Now, talk me through Avishka Fernando and Sandakan. Now, Van der Sar we did see, and we know that he can deliver. Avishka in particular has been given an extended run. The last game wasn't his best. His fielding was a little bit muddied, if that's the right word. Batting wasn't good. In the context, Sadira Samaravikram again becomes a tourist. Was on a long trip to Australia and New Zealand, didn't play a game. Once again, he hasn't played a game, but was in good form.
Indeed.
So, now this is where we are. This is how muddled it looks. How would you kind of differentiate the pieces and try and come up with something sensible as an answer?
How I look at it is, Roshan, that 3 spinners, special spinners, is Akila, Jeffrey and Sandakan. Only 2, in my opinion, only 2 can travel. So I reckon Van der Sar have done nothing wrong. He has done really well. So he has put his hands up, and it's good that he has performed. So that is always good headed to have for the selectors who when there is competition.
Yeah.
So I reckon from those 3, 2 will a maximum 2 will travel. But when it comes to Avishka Fernando, he's been given an extended run, but to be honest, he hasn't, given that wow factor for me.
Yeah.
He has got in some games, he has got some starts, some big
Looks
shots.
a good player.
A decent player, but just that maybe the extra pace, straight away, a young boy going up to playing 140 consistently would have prompted his game plan a little bit different, because I've seen him in domestic cricket. He can bamboozle any team with his batting. So I reckon even his plays won't be that confirmed, and there are lots of people to come in when it comes to opener. Danush Guntilaka is in good form.
Yeah. Now my question is in relation to Avishka Fernando. I can understand where the selectors are coming from. Obviously, they like to support him. They think of him as a match winner, potential match winner, which is very good. But in that context, has Sadira Samaravikram been treated unfairly? Yeah,
I think so. Especially young guy. He's just played 1 T20 in New Zealand, got out to first ball, and never since then he hasn't played. He came back, scored runs in domestic cricket. So, if I had the decision, I would have definitely played in the last T20, because I thought, giving a youngster such, who's in good form domestic before he left.
Yeah.
It would be right for him to give it. And looking at the selector's point of view, giving an extended run to every player, that's a very good positive to have.
Absolutely.
Previously, we didn't have that. We just gave 1 or 2 games and players are missing. Whereas now, though they fail and selectors feel like these guys have something, so let's give them a longer run. So on their positivity, they have done it, but unfortunately, for the players' perspective, they haven't grabbed that opportunity. So that's very unfortunate. So going forward, Roshan, when it comes to top 7 to 8 batters for the World Cup selection, it's up in there. It's anyone's guess now.
I'm not going to kind of analyze the game, but there's one thing that I really need to find out. Now, I did see Akila Dhananjaya bowl a lot of leg spin.
Yeah.
And now we know that he's an off spinner. He uses the leg break as a surprise delivery, the googly as a surprise delivery. But I felt he was overdoing it. Now, what does it tell you? Is he not confident to bowl the off spin? Is he going to bowl more leg spin? In that scenario, what's his story in the national
I think off spinners, he's not the same. I mean, he has to remodel his action, and to be honest, I've not seen his off spin not spinning much. And also, he bowled a lot of leg spinners to the right-handers.
Yeah,
he was very
but
comfortable.
It became a little bit predictable.
The thing is, I mean, with the show, especially at the Johannesburg game, which I was watching closely, he didn't bowl much off spinners because it was Pretorius and Reza Hendricks batting at that time. And there was short boundary towards mid-wicket. So that's why he's bowling a lot of leg spin. So understandably, he did that. But going forward, I think his stock bowl should be the off spin still.
Absolutely.
But when I saw him bowl in the previous two 2020s against the left-handers, he was much more comfortable bowling the off spin. But bowling to the right-handers, the off spin is not that comfortable. But he still kept on, bowling the leg spinners, and he bowled decently. But coming back after a suspension, the first tour, you give it a little bit more time for the youngster. I mean, we need him. I mean, I think if he does well in this middle overs, I think he's a wicket-taking bowler for us.
Oh, I thought he was a match winner.
Exactly. So we should stick him with him for a little while. I mean, we know that Lasith Malinga does bowl in the middle as well as in the end, but we need a supporter to Lasith to come in the middle and pick up those 1 or 2 wickets.
So you made a good point. Lasith Malinga, that's the name you have brought up now.
Yeah.
How critical is the Lasith Malinga factor going to be for Sri Lanka in the World Cup? Because I certainly feel that he's very critical for the Mumbai Indians. He's been requested by the BCCI to at least come and play a few games before the provincial, come back and play and then go again.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking about preparations and all that. This is T20, provincial is 50 over. Of course, it's white ball, but they're different.
Indeed.
So, where are we now?
I think Lasith is leaving as soon as possible. I think as soon as he comes to Colombo. That's what I heard.
Yeah, but my question is, he's a vital player.
Yeah.
So will you pick him for the World Cup?
Definitely.
Right.
I think he's...
Right. Arguments,
Yeah.
answer given. So, if you're going to pick him for the World Cup, will you be happy with what he's about to do? I mean, I have no problems with the player. He's a champion in his own right and he can make a decision on his own. I will never grudge him for that. But from a Sri Lankan point of view, BCCI asking for him, are you comfortable with this preparation?
I think look at Lasith's history. He's a bowler that hardly gets injured. So I think if he's confident enough, he can do the travelling, playing 2020, comes back and blow the provincial and go back. I think it's up to him because he's a pro. He has played this game for long enough, and he should keep an eye in the World Cup as well. It's a long World Cup. It's going to be a lot of games. Yeah. So his body only he knows. So if he thinks he can do it, I think he's a champion enough. I mean, still at 35, he's the best bowler we have. So he has nothing to prove, and it's up to him. He has to look after himself. I understand. As soon as he comes, he has to go to India, play a few games, come back and provincial, goes back again, and comes back for the camp before the World Cup in Sri Lanka. So it's going to be, hectic 3 months for Lasith. I think he will be a key bowler going forward with the new ball in the middle, in the depth. He's a player. More he plays, his form is good, and he's a bowler. He hardly gets injured, so he's very super fit. And whether I'm happy the way these is going to be planned out, I am a bit concerned, if I'm being really honest, because he's our champion bowler. He's our #1 bowler. I'm a bit concerned, but knowing his history, he's a player. More he plays, he keeps on playing. He doesn't get injured. So that gives me a bit of a positivity, saying that he will last for long. But that only, as I said, only he knows his body, so he just have to look after himself.
Right. So that's about Lasith Malinga. I hope the argument gets settled. Going forward, Sri Lanka has a super provincial tournament. They got 2 ODIs in Scotland.
Yep.
Then the big one. Happy with what we have, considering where we are?
I think ideal for the World Cup preparation, no, because I don't think except for a few. Something 70 or 60% of the team, the rest of it will be based on provincial tournament performance. So, ideally, not the greatest, but in the end, that's
because
how
there are no choosers.
Exactly.
Well,
so,
we got to work with what we have.
And the 2 ODIs against Scotland, the 15-man squad is going to play. So we got to pick the team. I think 23rd of April. and the provincial finishes on the 11th of April. So we got 12 days window there for selectors to, scratch their head and do their job.
Good
and
luck
get
to
pick the
them.
15.
Good luck to them. Right. So let's quickly move on to women's cricket. Sri Lanka have lost the 3-match ODI series 3-0. That's a sad story. I hope the ladies will improve. They've already lost the first T22. So it's not looking too good for the ladies. I hope fortunes will change. Well, we're now almost at the end of our program, and the question for the week: who was the runner-up in the first 50-over World Cup? You know when it happened? 1975.
75.
So who was the runner-up in the first 50-over World Cup? In fact, the question needs to be changed. It was not 50 overs then. It was 60 overs. So I would rather say who was the runner-up in the first Cricket World Cup. Anyway, here you are. You need to answer the question. And the good news is we have a winner. The previous week we did not have a winner. Now the question was, what is the highest T20 total for Sri Lanka versus South Africa? We've got an answer. 170 for 5 in 2017 at Cape Town. Sikuge and Asela chased down the target. Well, Sikuge and Asela, they played together for Sri Lanka. They played for the Sri Lanka Army. So obviously they had a lot in common and great understanding and great chemistry as well. So that was the highest score, and the winner is Roshanta Kingston Fernando. Congratulations, Roshanta, for you getting that answer right. So as I said, we have come to the end of our program. Well, I know it's not good news, Sri Lanka losing the series, but we can always live in hope. We can always live in hope. We got the Super Provincial. Let's hope that our players will hit form and they will be ready to conquer the world. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again very soon.